frustrated, but they're just treading water. What's a big, audacious goal, right? BHAG goals, big, hairy, audacious goal. So, man, and just right now, I mean, I want to hone in on one key thing. I saw a little motion out here, right?
Welcome to the Get Stoked Podcast with Paul Stokes. Life lessons learned on the water that you can apply to everyday life. Now, here's Paul.
Hey, Paul Stokes here with the Get Stoked Podcast, the podcast where we take water sports athletes, talk to them about life lessons learned on the water that you can apply to everyday life. So today, we're flipping the script a little bit where me as the host, I'm going to be the athlete that talks about a life lesson I've learned on the water actually this upcoming year, but also in the past. And it's a lesson that you can apply to all different parts of your life, goal setting. And with me today is Matt Pletzer from Lift Consulting. And he has been instrumental in helping me with goal setting. And so that's why he's here. So tell us a little bit about Lift Consulting and how you help me and others looking to perform better, mostly in business.
Sure, thanks, Paul. Yeah, so Lift Consulting, we're a sales consulting firm. We work with a lot of individuals like yourself. We work with a lot of business owners and businesses in general on the growth plans for their organizations. Typically, people come to us because they're frustrated, feeling like they're just not hitting the goals that they've set forth for themselves, right? Apropos relative to today's conversation. They may feel like they're just not as productive as they could be. They're active, but they're just not getting the results. Perhaps sometimes in the business world, organizations feel like they've hit a plateau and they've done a lot to try to elevate their game and get to that next level, but they're just treading water. So that's typically when we get engaged. We help them through strategy, structure, skills development, and staffing solutions for organizations.
Yeah, awesome. And they do a great job of it. Their mission is to make a measurable impact and difference in their clients' lives. And they've certainly done that with me.
Thanks, Paul.
And today we're doing goal setting, and what we thought we would do is jump right in and have Matt take me through his process of how he helps guide people through setting a goal and making the plan to achieve that goal.
Perfect. You ready?
So let's do it.
All right. So the first thing that we want to focus on is what's a big, audacious goal, right? BHAG goals, big, hairy, audacious goal that you've had in your life, you've been thinking about, that you want to achieve or accomplish someday.
So I've thought about this a lot, getting ready for this, and this sport of water skiing, specifically barefoot water skiing, has given me so much in the way of just fun. I've learned a lot of life lessons, and there's a lot of people that have helped that process, and I have a desire to give back to the sport, and this podcast actually is one part of giving back to the sport. But I'm also very hungry still to compete and kind of put my stamp on the sport. So I went to this competition in the late 90s called footstock, and the day I was at that competition, it's like, I'm going to win. One day I'm going to win footstock. So lots of big, audacious goals, Disneyland goals. Part of that goal to getting where I want to be involves winning footstock.
Awesome. So, we talk about not looking right at the road in front of you. We talk about setting a big goal. Just discuss a little bit about the impact of having this bigger goal versus I want to win a local competition, in your local market this year. Like, what impact does that have, having this bigger long-term goal? Because footstock's been in your mind for a long time, right? It's not like, I know it's on your plan for this year to win it, but you've had this goal for a number of years.
Well, it's a unique event, and I'm lucky I live in Wisconsin now. At the time I went to it the first time, I lived in Texas.
Sure.
So I was coming up to Wisconsin and checking out this event. I'd heard about it, didn't realize how cool it was, but it's actually the premier endurance figure eight barefoot water ski tournament. So barefoot water skiers all over the world. It's not a world championship. It's not sanctioned by some governing body at the world level, but every barefoot water skier knows you win that, you're the best of the best in figure eight barefoot water skiing. And having competed in other events at that level is such a unique event and such a cool event, and it's going to be a great one to win.
Okay, so one of the things that we talk about is finding your why. So that's part of your why, right? Part of your why is, hey, this is the premier event. It's a way for you to give back, but it's also a way for you to maybe pat yourself on the back a little bit and have others know that, hey, Paul Stokes is the premier endurance figure eight water skier, right? Barefoot water skier. Outside of that, though, I know there's maybe a little bit more of an emotional why tied behind this. Can you speak to that?
Well, I think as I grow as a person, working with you and the other self-development that I'm working on, you learn to you want to become the best version of yourself. And I know that I'm capable of winning this event. And if I don't do it, it's because I didn't want it enough, I didn't try hard enough, I didn't give it enough. So one is it's a bucket list goal of mine. I know I can do it. There's a part I'm doing it for myself in a lot of ways, to prove to myself that I can do the hard work and I can get it done. Another one is I've got 2 young boys. They like to water ski for fun. They're not competitive at it, but they love it, and I want to be a good example for them. I want them to watch me go for this goal and watch me how I set the goal, and you'll see as we talk about the activities I'm doing, they're watching, they're seeing, they're learning, and I'm gonna be very proud with them there seeing it happen.
That's awesome, man. And just right now, I want to hone in
Saw
on one key thing. I saw a little emotion out of you, right?
Yeah.
So for the people that are listening or watching this vlog or podcast, once you find your why, once you dig into that emotion like Paul just did, that just basically puts concrete over the goal, right? It solidifies it. So now when times get tough, when you wake up early in the morning and you say, I don't want to journal, which I know you're going to talk about, or do some of these things, you can revert back to your why. So
Sure.
Let's take it down then. So once you have your why in mind, once you have the big someday goal in mind, then we talk about breaking it down into 5 years. So tell us how this big goal is broken down into a 5-year goal.
Well, the 5-year goal, as it relates to my someday goal, preparing for this and thinking about it, I really want to be a multiple footstock champion. I don't want to win just one. I want to win multiple. As far as I could tell, there's 4 guys that have done that in the past. We have Chris Barnhart, Aaron Schozel, Keith St. Ange, and Peter Fleck, who actually just won his 10th last year.
Wow.
Keith St. Ange. 2 of those guys were 1st and 2nd, as I got 3rd last year. But being a multiple champion is really speaking to me. So the fun thing about barefoot water skiing and the fun thing about footstock is, with barefoot water skiing, you can fall.
Sure.
And it can happen like that. And so I'm not going to sit here and say win 5 in a row, but I think being a multiple winner over 5 years is realistic. And I'm not too old, because Peter Fleck, who just won his 10th one, I think he was 52
Sure.
last summer. So I've got some years left. And so my 5-year goal is multiple wins, and that's in line with my someday goal.
Okay, awesome. Do you mind if I dive into a little bit of coaching here
Do
for
it.
a second?
Do it.
So what I just heard is that you have a clearly defined 5-year goal. You could probably get a little bit more defined. How many, right? Multiple is what, 2, 3, 4?
2 would put me on the list of multiple.
Okay, so 2. But outside of that, we start with the someday goal of winning footstock. The reality is, I think your someday goal is bigger than that. What I heard your someday goal is being a great example for your kids, living a healthy life, being physically fit by the time you retire, this is a way for you to achieve that. So your someday goal is bigger than just winning 5 footstock
Absolutely.
or 2 footstock
Absolutely.
championships. Then we break it down to the year, and that's where I think footstock comes into play right now, right? So
Yeah.
what's your year goal?
It is to win Footstock 2019.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And how are you gonna do it?
Well, I've broken the plan down from where I need to be at different dates along the way. I started training the day after Footstock last year, but I honed in on my plan just in late 2018. So I've got weight loss goals, I've got fitness goals and activities based around both of those things, tracking. My plan will change as we come into the season. I mean, it's funny because outside right now there's about a foot of snow on the ground, and this weekend I think it's going to be 20 below, not counting the wind chill factor. So staying motivated for a goal in August, it takes these daily activities to stay motivated. But
So how are you going to stay motivated? Because one of the things I know professionally, I know you personally as well, but just from a professional standpoint, a lot of the clients that we have, they struggle with enduring the monotony of success, right? Actually going forward and dealing with those daily activities, especially when you're looking outside and there's a foot of snow on the ground, and let's just be real, you could slack off. You could hang out until the snow melts, until the ice melts, and then start water skiing or barefoot water skiing. Why? How are you going to make your way through that? What's your plan?
well, something that's helped me a lot, and it's something that you introduced, well, it was introduced to me before, but you really motivated me over the years to journal.
Yep.
And I've started and stopped journaling a lot, but I'm really on top of it now. So I'm journaling every day, and my journal has affirmations in it where I talk to myself about believing and seeing myself as a champion. I write out my goals as part of my journaling, where I write out I will win the 2019 footstock. So I'm writing that every day. I write that in my journal every day. I'm journaling about making what we call slide edge. There's a book called Slide Edge. So I affirm that my body is ideal and is comfortable at my target weight. I write in my goals that I will achieve and maintain. I will do the activities and adjust my diet and exercise to achieve and maintain my goal weight. So journaling, I think, is, to answer your question, is what's going to keep me in line, keep me focused, remind me what I need to do today to stay on track to continue my journey towards my goal.
Yeah, a couple things I heard out of that. So one, even just the words you choose. So for those of you who are listening, Paul said multiple times when, not if I win footstock. It's when I win footstock. So you're using words that are affirmative. It's confirmed. It's going to happen. There's no wishy-washiness to it. So that's pretty cool. And journaling's been something you've been working on for some time, but there's probably a little bit more than journaling, right? So there's this other commitment level. I mean, right now you're telling a large audience of people about this goal, and that's committing
That's
them
part
further,
of it too,
right?
sure.
Is there anything else that you're doing outside of journaling?
Well, I'm going to the gym regularly. I'm clearly not on the water. You could drive a truck out on the lake right now because it's frozen. So luckily I have a group of guys that meet me at the gym. So I have 3 guys that come to the gym Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning. They're expecting me there. I'm expecting them there. So we have that accountability.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the gym much easier to show up to when you know someone else is going to be there. On the other days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, my wife Heather goes to the gym with me. And then on the weekends, I'm trying to get some activity. I've hired a coach. His name's Corey Digman Fitness. I've actually hired him to write workouts for me. He knows, he's spoken to me about figure 8 barefoot water skiing. He doesn't know how to do it, but I've shown it to him on video. I've described to him what muscles fail first. The grip is crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Some people that know me and last year, they'll laugh at that, but grip is crucial. So I have specific workouts that I'm paying a guy to write for me. I'm investing in that to make sure I'm developing the muscle groups that need to be worked on. So that's part of it. I'm also tracking calories. I'm on what's called an intermittent fasting diet. So it'll be interesting what people think about that if they make comments, but I'm eating from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and I don't eat between 7 p.m. and 11 a.m. It's called the 16-8 intermittent fasting. I don't even like to call it a diet. It's working for me. I like it. I know it doesn't work for everyone. And then in those 8 hours, I'm tracking every single calorie that goes into my mouth. Everything. So I can keep an eye on that. And then I know from a history of trying to get in shape on my own for years and years and years, which is why, one, I've got this guy helping me by writing workouts for me, which he'll do for anyone around the world, by the way. I know that I can on my own get to within about 10 pounds of my target weight, and then I struggle moving the needle on that, mostly because of the food I'm choosing to eat. So I've also hired a gentleman named Luke Briggs. Briggs Fitness, I believe is his business name, and he's coming on board April 1st, and March 1st, and March, April, and May, he's going to be micromanaging me on macros, watching what I'm eating, adjusting what I'm eating, helping me make meal plans so that I don't lose muscle mass, that I continue to move towards my target goal of weight. And my goal is I will be at my target weight by June 1st. And the idea of that is, and this is through consulting with him, that I'm not cutting weight in June, July, and August. I'm certainly not going to just let myself go at that point, but we definitely don't want to be in a cutting weight scenario as I'm building my endurance and my on-the-water skills going into the event. I think it's pretty important, and that was his idea. I was going to hire him for the 3 months right before the event. So, two
Sounds
coaches.
like a good sales guy.
I got a fitness coach and a nutrition coach coming on board for me to help me.
Awesome, and those joke, obviously,
Yeah.
but he's got you in mind. So, I guess the prevailing thing that I'm hearing is you're committed, right? You're investing in yourself multiple ways. You have multiple accountability partners. You're journaling about this every single day. How's this any different than anything you've done in the past? Maybe just in a couple minute summary.
Well, I think an example is last year. My goal was to win footstock last year, but I didn't have a plan. I didn't hire the coaches. I didn't stick to my plan. I got loose on my diet in the summer. I questioned actually myself and my abilities, and a conversation with Keith St. Ange actually roped me back in.
Sorry, Paul. This
that's all
keeps
right.
coming up.
That's okay. It's loose.
Yeah.
But I really wasn't committed, so I needed to have the more concrete plan.
Okay.
So in the past, I've had goals, but these things we've talked about in the last 5 or 10 minutes of the specific things I'm doing to keep myself engaged in the goal every day and motivated every day with that why out there, putting the emotional power behind it. Until all those things are kind of planned and in place, I don't think people should expect to reach their goals if they just think about it and say it.
Well, and I think the other part of this too, and I know this from working with you for a while, is in a way, I hate to say it, but you almost had to fail first, right? I mean, you had this goal last year, you didn't achieve it, but based upon not achieving it last year, now you've retooled the plan, you've reworked it, you have a better indication of what's going to happen. What we see with people when they're goal setting, the moment they hit a roadblock, the moment they fail, the moment that just things just don't go according to plan, so often they just give up, right?
So true.
And that's what I'm hearing from you is you've learned from that, and now you're adjusting to better position yourself so that when you do have that bad day on the water, when you do wake up in the morning, you don't feel like going to the gym, you have things in place that are going to keep you accountable to that.
No doubt. So one thing, this is kind of how I've put this goal and activities associated with the goal and daily motivation for footstock. I want everyone to realize that this can be done for other things in life, right? We do this in business. So you have a certain production goal at work. We talk about how much money do you want to make? Well, how many sales do you have to make that much money? How many break it down to how many calls do you have to make to get an appointment, and how many appointments do you have to get a sale, and breaking it all the way down to what do you have to do every day, and it really simplifies it.
Yeah.
If I do this every day, the numbers play out. So you can apply the lessons learned in this video that I'm learning through my involvement in barefoot water skiing and water skiing. You can apply these lessons to your everyday life, to your work, which is the whole theme of this podcast. So,
yeah, I mean, there's no reason why the next person who's listening to this who wants to go out and achieve something big, be it buy real estate or go out and sell their next big capital equipment sale or go win a mountain biking competition, can't apply this, right? And do the same thing that you've done. And that's what I appreciate about you. So you're living it, right? You're living it both professionally, and I know today is more about personally, but what people perhaps do not know is that Paul's applying this exact same thing to his professional life as well. And he has a pretty big, hairy, audacious goal professionally also. So I would encourage all of you to ask Paul about that if you see him or talk to him. Ask him about the professional goal as well. Have him work through this because he needs an accountability partner, right?
There you go. There you
awesome.
go. Well, thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Paul.
I
Really
appreciate it. And, the likes and the shares are great, but what I really would like is engagement. Make a comment. What's an athlete like you'd like to see me interview? What are some topics that you think would be interesting? What do you agree or disagree about what you've just heard? What are your goals? We'd love to hear about it and interact with you, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening to the Get Stoked podcast with Paul Stokes. You can contact Paul at ontheballpaul.com. We look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, stay stoked.